the Guna avatars, the Manvantar avatar, right? The Leela avatar, right? Purusha avatar, and Satyavesha avatar. Six categories of incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So, in this, so there are 71 Manvantar avatars, and in this particular section, Swayambhuva Manu's uh, genealogy is discussed, that he had three daughters, right? Swayambhuva Manu had three daughters. Those daughters' name were Akuti, um, uh, we had Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti, right? Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. In the previous section, in the third canto, we discussed about Devahuti and Kardama Muni, that how Devahuti was married to Kardama Muni, and she would, when Kardama Muni was performing austerities, Devahuti was completely serving her husband with all austerities, though she was born from Swayambhuva Manu with the big palatial building and all. But she was just serving her husband. And with that nice um, arrangement, when Kadamba Muni was completely satisfied, he then saw the frail condition of his wife. He, uh, created an aerial mansion, and then he lived with his wife after his austerities were complete to for thousands of years, satisfying his wife. First of all, beautifying also his wife, so that she can regain her full vigor and health. So we see in that arrangement, when a husband and wife are satisfied, uh, good progeny appears. And especially with Kadama Muni and Devahuti, we see Lord Kapila, the Supreme Lord himself, appear in the womb of Devahuti. And then we see instructions of Kadama Muni goes to forest, um, entrusting his wife in the care of her son. Uh, Lord Kapila. Lord Kapila instructs Devavati, then taking permission of his mother, he also leaves. And then we see here his other daughter, Akuti, who is married to sage Ruchi, is discussed. And later on in the fourth canto, we will see uh, the third daughter, Prasuti, married to Daksha Prajapati, will be discussed. Right. And from Akuti and Ruchi, there was a son who was also Ansa avatar of the Supreme Lord, Yagya, was born, and a daughter, Dakshina, was born, who was also the incarnation of the goddess of fortune. And since they were not ordinary, later on Yagya was married to Dakshina, though they were siblings. But eternally, the Supreme Lord, Lord Narayan, his consort is Lakshmi Devi, right? So since uh, Lord Narayan had appeared as Yagya and the goddess of fortune had appeared as Dakshina, they got married, right? And We see here Srila Prabhupada mentioning in the purport about this ideal grahastha life, that ideal householder life where the husband and wife are satisfied, right, are in full agreement, right. It's very rare to find that in Kali Yuga. Mm. In Kali Yuga, Srila Prabhupada mentions that um, it's rare to find. There's lots of disagreement between husband and wife, and as a result, uh, unwanted children. It gives rise to unwanted children. What does it mean, unwanted children? Children not having proper sanskar, right? Where there is full agreement between husband and wife, where it is the grahastha life is ideal, the life of the householder life is not based on sense gratification, right? There is two stages, right? Grahastha, householder life, where it's considered as an ashram in which Krishna consciousness is propagated, and Graha Medi, which is also a householder life in which the entire householder life is based on sense gratification, right? Based on sense gratification. So when there is ideal householder life, uh, the husband and wife are considered as representations of Lakshmi Narayan, right? And goddess of fortune come to that ideal householder life, right? It flourishes. And then they have good progeny, and then they raise their children nicely with proper sanskars. Before marriage itself, they perform this Garbhadan sanskar, right? So that is proper um, sanskars are imbibed in the children from the very from the conception stage itself, right? From the conception stage itself. Otherwise, in the earlier chapter, as we saw, in the case of Diti and Kashyapa Muni, when senses are agitated just based on sexual urges, demons were born, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, right? So, you know, it's so scientifically nicely mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, similarly, ideal grahastha life is very important, right? There are seminars after seminars, even in ISKCON, we see the seminars, so many seminars being held. Srimad Bhagavatam also, there are so many instructions for ideal grahastha life, right? So that in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, kalau nyastiva, 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 anyata, in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, right, where there is so many disagreements, and you put another person in the family, husband and wife, disagreement increases, right? Uh, the divorce rate, I was just reading about it. The divorce rate in in America in 2024 is 41%. It's 41%. It has declined a little bit because of more education over relationship, right? It has declined a little bit, but it's still high, 41%. And same thing is true even in India. Though the divorce rate overall, because of the population of India, is lowest among all nations. In urban areas like Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, the divorce rate is considered more than 30%. Right? That shows the influence, right? Where there's so many disagreements, ultimately it lands up into a court and there's divorce, and then the children with not proper sanskar, right, from the childhood. How they are born? They are born in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned. The born more is born as Shankara, right? Lack of proper sanskars, with so many disagreements. But if there is agreements, Lakshmi Narayan, the house flourishes. Goddess of fortune flourishes in that house. The husband also feels happy that, oh, I'm going to go to work in this cat and dog race. When I come back, I'll be nicely treated, right? And same way, the wife also feels protection under the care of the husband, right? She also feels protection under the care of the husband. Not that ultimately she will also end up working and getting influenced by others in the job field, right? And then ultimately, it will give rise to more disagreements and differences. And when the son or child, the daughters get born, you know, they don't have proper enough time to spend. They rely more on a nanny taking care of them, right? So those are the symptoms of the age of Kali. In the Krishna consciousness movement, it's mentioned in this age of Kali, Kalau Nyasiva Nyasiva Gatiya Nyata, there's only one way. Hari Nama, Hari Nama, Hari Nama Ishu Kevalam. Right? Chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name. That even sanskars before conception for Garbhadan sanskar, instead of yagya and this and that, it is recommended that husband and wife in Krishna consciousness should chant 50 rounds before conception. So that the mind, which is so important, the consciousness of the mind during that, the stage of the mind, state of the mind during the conception, so important. That state is in a purified state, in a spiritual state, that uh, um, that sanskar is passed on to the child taking birth. Yeah. So here we see yagya, the Supreme Lord's unserved avatar, and the goddess of fortune, Dakshina, um, getting married. And ultimately, they begat 12 children. Right? For each Manvantar avatar, right, we have the Manvantar avatar's name. In this case, is Swayambhuva Manu. We have the head of the rishis, in this case, is Marichi. Uh, we have the head of the demigods, Indra, but Indra is a post occupied by different personalities. In this case, is occupied by Yagya, uh, the Lord's partial incarnation. And similarly, the living entities, they, they beget 12 children who are later on called as Tushitas. In subsequent verses, we hear the name of those 12 children, right? And to that, progeny is further increased, right? So that's Vedic civilization. That according to Vedic civilization, it's mentioned, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, the wife is trained to be satisfied in all conditions. And the husband, according to Vedic instructions, is required to please the wife with sufficient food, ornaments, and clothing, right? Um, wife is trained to be satisfied in all conditions, and the husband is like Devavati. She was satisfied in all conditions, right? And the husband is trained to provide the wife with sufficient food, ornaments, and clothing, so that the grahastha life can nicely flourish. Right? And there is peace in the grahastha life. There is peace in the grahastha life. Not that there is disagreement that, oh, we have not bought me a dress for so many years or not an ornament for so many years. Right? And further in grahastha life, it is important that you invite enlightened personalities in your home, right? Like Nanda Maharaj and Mother Jasoda. They invited, always looking for inviting sages at their home so that they can serve them. The sages does not require services, but they come for the benefit of the grahasthas, so that when the grahasthas serve the sages, they can impart transcendental knowledge to them. And by that services, the grahastha can become more spiritually enlightened and purified, right? So that he can raise his family life in a Krishna conscious environment. That's why it's so important in grahastha life to invite, to have your home not only as a home of sense gratification, but to invite Vaishnavas, to invite Vaishnavas and serve them. Right. Okay, are there any questions? We can have some discussion if anybody has any question. Hari Hari, we still have 4 minutes. We can squeeze in one question if anybody has a question. So everybody is tuned in to have a nice household life so that goddess of fortune can manifest in the life and they be considered as the representatives of Lakshmi Narayan. Good, wonderful. Okay, no questions, no discussions or reflections. I'm sure you all will have more experience in Grahastha than me. You can share your tips or challenges. Well, okay. If not, we will end here. We'd like to wish you all a safe and Krishna conscious day and weekend ahead. Weekend, which is relatively um, better as far as temperatures are concerned. But next week, it seems to be very cold as far as the weather predictions are concerned. Uh, take care because there's a lot of uh, people are getting cold left and right. We like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord for chanting Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Shri Nrsingo, Jai Nrsingo, Jai Jai Nrsingo, Praladesha, Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Pringam, Ugra Veena,
Gurubhiram Mahavishnu
Sarvatam Sarvatom,
Jalantam Sarvatomukham
Nrsingham
Narsingham
Bhishana
Vishnam
Brahma,
Bhadram
Mrityu Mrityu
Mrityu
Nami,
Namami.
Nrsinga Bhagwan ki
Ki
Jai,
Jai,
Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas, Vanchakalpatarubhaya,
Vanchakalpatarubhasya
Hindus,
Kripa Sindhavaya Patitanam Pavane
Pavane
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnave
Namo Namah.
Vaishnavinda ki Jai,
Jai,
Raj Srimad Bhagavatam
Ki
ki
Jai,
Srila Prabhupada
Ki
ki Jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari 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 Bol. Thank you everybody. Hari Bol. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.